Welcome back to Dynamics. Okay, so I did want to do one more political video before I start doing movie reviews. I'm sure I'll be doing more political videos. If you like them, don't worry, they will still be coming. If you don't like them, don't watch this one, and we will be getting some movie reviews and some more magic opening content over the weekend. Okay, so this one should be a lot shorter than the last two. Let's see though, because I do get long winded sometimes. Basically, now that we've kind of clarified why this shutdown has happened and how the blame game is not working, and the blame game was basically lies to cover up for the real reason for the shutdown. Let's go ahead and talk about how we fix it. I did have a comment on one of my posts where basically it was asked, well, okay, now that we have that clarified, Republicans shouldn't be blamed. But what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do to fix this problem? How are we going to end this shutdown? And how are we going to fix the problems with the health insurance? This should be pretty quick because it doesn't go into super great detail about that. But let's just talk about it for a little bit. So, first things first, the Democrats need to pass the continuing resolution. It doesn't seem like anybody is going to be negotiating the budget until they pass the continuing resolution. That my ideas of coming forward and coming forward with a full budget, since we're not getting the continuing resolution, and since the Democrats don't want to negotiate on the continuing resolution, then we should just move forward with preparing the budget. But I think that the real way to do it is first Democrats vote to go ahead and approve the continuing resolution so the government can reopen. All of the Republicans in the House will come back. The Democrats and the Republicans in the House, the Democrats and the Republicans in the Senate, and the president and cabinet can get together and negotiate this thing. Okay, that's how it starts. We're not even there yet. The Democrats are not willing to do that yet. So how do we get to that point? Not sure. I think it's just a matter of time, though. The longer that the Republicans just keep ignoring them and not caring that they're trying to blame it on them, the more likely we're going to see people like Fetterman come forward and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's just pass this thing, negotiate." Because if they wait past the first of the year, then that credit actually does expire. And like I said, I think maybe some of them want to do that so that they can try to say, look, it expired. It's all the Republicans' fault. Still not going to work. But I think maybe that's their mindset. But I'm still going to give them until the end of next week to, maybe kind of agree to go ahead and not do it, not take that long. Because the No Kings protests are over, and maybe they think maybe there'll be some more No Kings protests this weekend. So they're waiting after that, and then they'll go ahead and they'll next week in the shutdown. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it could. Or at least enough Democrats could come forward and say, you know what, let's just end this. Let's move, promise us you're going to negotiate this budget, and let's do it. There we go. Right. So anyway, so that's the first major step. Got to get the government reopened so that they can negotiate this budget. All right. So then what do we do? I think that that this is the Democrats' major issue. Right? Is the EPTC, the Enhanced Premium Tax Credits. That's their main issue. They're trying to get it without having to do any concessions. That's not going to happen. So it is the Democrats' main issue. They need this to be able to agree to the budget. But I think that there are going to be at least enough Republicans, if not, all the Republicans agreeing, with concessions, which is what I think they should do. But at least enough Republicans to say, you know what, we would support this. We would support the extension of the enhanced premium tax credits. So where are the concessions, though? The concessions are multiple concessions. One, there does need to be another expiration date on it. These can't be just, limitless credits that are just never going to be an issue that's never going to resolve. They're going to continually need to increase the credits. just to be able to keep up with the marketplace, and the marketplace is going to keep increasing because of the credits, and it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. So yes, you do want that expiration date on there. Um, Hold on. All right, buddy. I'm doing a video. Okay. All right. So anyway, so you have to put an expiration date on there. In addition to an expiration date, I think there should be an early out clause, meaning that they don't have to keep the credits going all the way until the expiration date. Whatever that ends up being, 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, whatever they decide, there's an early out clause that once they get a new system negotiated or a new path forward negotiated, they can go ahead and sunset the enhanced premium tax credits. Okay, so that's the first concession. Second concession, I know they're going to say no illegal immigrants are getting this credit. Fine, you can believe that. There is definitely some evidence that they are getting it in some states due to the way that the states operate, right? So they need to just put some sort of conditions or consequences for states that allow this to happen. The details of that I'm not so sure about. Not sure quite how you would do that, but that's something that they need to give some sort of reassurances that these credits will not go to illegal immigrants. And if you really believe that illegal immigrants aren't getting it, then that's not really even a concession to you because, well, they're not getting it. So us putting this thing in there to make sure they aren't getting it is not important. Why they try to argue against it by saying, well, they already can't get it, just tells me that you know that they are getting it, even though they're not supposed to. Right? So you're going to need some sort of concession to that concern that illegal immigrants are getting these credits. Okay. The last concession, there is going to need to be a something to offset this because it is a spending increase. So there has to be some sort of spending decreases, spending cuts that offset it. I think one of the best ways to go about doing that would be to go ahead and implement the Doge cuts, and then say, you know what, look, these things, if we go through the full date of the expiration date, it's going to cost this much. These Doge cuts will cut this much. I don't think the Doge cuts will add up to the credit, so it's not like even. It's still going to be a spending increase, but that's one way to, do some offsetting of the increased spending coming from the credits. So that would be the main concession for the Democrats. That's the other two are easy. One, you already did an expiration date the first time you passed it. That's why we're in this mess, or part of why we're in this mess. Two, what do you care if there's additional reassurances that illegal immigrants aren't getting it because you don't think they're getting it anyway. So that's not really even a concession for you then. This is the main concession. This is where probably the sticking point is going to be. They don't want to see these Doge cuts going into effect. But there has to be. You're the minority party. You have to concede that the majority party wants to see spending cuts. And so if you are not going to agree to spending cuts to offset some of the spending increases that you're trying to get them to agree to, then, how are we even going to come to an agreement? You have to make that concession. Whether it's specifically the Doge cuts, that's a question that, could be answered in the negotiations. Maybe it's different. Maybe they figure out different spending cuts that will go ahead and offset the health premium, the enhanced premium tax credit spending. Okay, so that's how you get that in there. But then also, because this is something that's not going to be able to continue on indefinitely, where they're not going to indefinitely be able to continue doing these enhanced premium tax credits, they're just going to keep increasing and increasing as the health insurance premiums increase. We actually do need to fix the system. And so there just needs to be some assurances that there will be future negotiations. It doesn't have to be a part of this budget. It could be if they really want to put the time in, but that they're going to replace the Affordable Care Act with something that's much more of a limited government involvement in the health insurance marketplace. And and to offset that, or as a concession to the fact that we would be then eliminating the ACA, which is causing these the premium increases, we could move to a system of, say, like an expanded Medicaid, or another system to go alongside Medicaid, that would, so that, just to kind of clarify, I think I talked about this in the other video, is a big a big thing about the reason why the ACA came into existence is because Medicaid only did up to like the federal poverty level, or it's right around there, maybe a little bit over the federal poverty level, maybe a little under it. Maybe that's where the 80% is coming from. Not 100% sure on those numbers right now off the top of my head, but basically Medicaid didn't cover all of the people that could possibly want health insurance, but can't quite afford it, right? So you could do some sort of expanded Medicaid that would then cover the people that choose to. Mind you, again, it's a choice. We do want to stay away from those mandates, which was one of the biggest problems with the Affordable Care Act, but now that's kind of gone in most states. And then you want to go ahead and try to implement something that's a voluntary thing that says, hey, I am lower income, but over the federal poverty level, I would like to be in some sort of, government assisted Medicaid program, that would cover part of my premiums. So very similar to the Affordable Care Act, but that it's not forced onto everybody, and maybe it's not as wide ranging. You could have them implemented as part of the health insurance plan, or you could have it be its own separate program like Medicaid, where they're not part of a health insurance exchange, so they're not impacting the health insurance marketplace. These are just people getting government benefits based on the fact that they can't afford to pay for their entire health insurance premiums. Okay, so something like that, but come up with something. I know that that's one of the things that they're poking Trump with, is he had said he had a plan, and then he had a partial plan, and he didn't implement anything, and that sort of thing. And part of that is because he couldn't have gotten it passed anyways. So if there is a plan that everybody can agree to, then it would be easier to get that passed. But you have to have the negotiations, and you have to have the discussions, and you have to come at it from the mindset that this is not going to be universal health care. It's not even going to be where we are with the Affordable Care Act. It'll be even more limited than that. And if you come at it from that perspective, I bet you could get a lot of Republicans on board with something like that. Not all of them, especially if it's an extremely expensive program. Again, an extremely expensive program is going to require some sort of cuts to offset those, because we do want to try to limit the deficits moving forward. My optimal thing would be more of a balanced budget, and make that one of the big priorities, to kind of assist people who need that sort of assistance. So that should be one of the priorities of our budget, but that doesn't mean that we can't have a balanced budget. As long as we can keep our spending under our revenues, we can still have a balanced budget and still cover important programs, such as, health insurance for people who can't afford it. The problem is we want that, and we want our cake, and we want to eat it too. We want everything, and that's where, budgets get out of control, and our debt gets out of control, and that sort of thing. But that's a topic for another video. So if they could come together, get the CR passed, the continuing resolution passed, get them to agree on concessions that would go along with extending the enhanced premium tax credits. You can come to an agreement on the full budget, get a full budget passed, and then have a framework of negotiations to replace the Affordable Care Act before the end of the new expiration date, so that we're not right back in the same boat at the end of the enhanced premium tax credits new expiration date. What do you guys think? Let me know, comment down below, and I will talk to you again real soon. Take care.